Good afternoon, all distinguished speakers and attendees. Welcome to the second day of the AAPBS 2021 Virtual Annual Meeting. My name is Korplap Chantarasap from Chiang Mai University Business School. I will be your host today. For those who attended yesterday's meeting, we hope you got some good insights from the talks and panels. Again, this event would not be possible without AAPBS, AACSB International, and of course, all of you, our audience. And in partnership with your participation and support, all fundings and sponsorship of this meeting are being donated to the Center of the Elephant and Wildlife Research. The Center of the Elephant and Wildlife Research listed as endangered on the IUCN 2008. The Asian elephant has a higher risk of extinction in the wild, so its welfare is of the utmost concern. And with the pandemic, the number of tourists visiting elephant camps has decreased to almost zero, affecting both the elephants and their caregivers. The Center of the Elephant and Wildlife Research, with its mobile clinic, aims to conserve the Asian elephant for education, research, and to support elephant tourism. The funding is being donated on your behalf to help them during this difficult time. So we thank you all very much. Before starting, let's review today's agenda together. First, we start off with a panel discussion. Then we will have a small group brainstorming sessions where we will be assigned to breakout rooms. After that, we come back to the main room for an idea sharing sessions. Then we will end the day with another keynote speech, general meeting, and closing remarks by our executive. Now, let's begin with the panel discussion sessions titled, Fostering Innovative Startups. In this panel, we will discuss the role of educational and governmental institutions in supporting startups, as well as startups' perspective in working with educational institutions. Let us welcome our three panelists and moderator to the sessions. And I now hand over the stage to our moderator of the sessions, Professor Manuel. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here with all of you. Thank you, Professor Chandrasap. My name is Manuel Ortiz de Ceballos, and I live in South America, Peru, which is a country which hosts Machu Picchu Inca's ancient city. So welcome to our country. Actually, I have 2 in the morning, and I'm very happy and comfortable to be with all of you here. So for today, as has said, we are going to have a very unique and important panels and guests for today's session. Thank you for the AAPBS opportunity to be here. I'm the Executive Director also of the Latin American Council of Business Schools, who are partner of AAPBS Association. So welcome. So what we are going to do, we are going to first have a space for our panelists, a 5-minute presentation from each. Then we're going to have a discussion session with them. And after that, please, if you have any question, type your questions in the questions chat box here in Zoom. So at the end, we are going to give your questions to our panelists. So let's go. Let's start. Let's start with first with Mr. Jitrapong Jirakunsonchok. He is the innovation developer at the National Innovation Agency, or NIA. He will explain to us the NIA role in supporting startups' business strategies. So welcome, Mr. Jitrapong, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kun Manuel, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jitrapong Jirakunsomchok, an innovation developer from the Innovation National Innovation Agency, or you can call it NIA. So I would like to introduce you the roles of NIA in supporting startup ecosystem in Thailand. First of all, let me introduce about NIA. So NIA belongs to the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, or we can call it MACI. Our mission is to promote national innovation ecosystem development, ease of doing business, and innovation capability development. So NIA is one party who belongs to the National Startup Committee, which is established in 2016 when the government decided that startup will be one of the national agenda of Thailand. The National Startup Committee mission is to build up awareness, promote ease of doing business, strengthen ecosystem, and provide incentives and supports. So what does NIA do to support the development of startup ecosystem as a whole? So let me introduce you some of the supporting schemes that NIA provides. So firstly, the financial support. Together with TED Fund and other organizations, we create this funding funnels where we fund the startups from their very early days, from the ideation stage to the product market fit stage. And beyond that, we also connect them to various sources of funds. For example, angel investors, VCs, and also CVCs. You can see that we have different kinds of package. Apart from that, we provide sector-based incubator and accelerator programs where we aim to nurture new budding entrepreneurs and also to promote growth of business via connecting them to market, to corporates, to ecosystem, and to source of funds. Let me introduce you some of our sector-based incubator program and accelerator program. One is Space Earth, our program for food tech, where we partner with Thai Union Mahidol University, Thai Beta Grow, and also Deloitte. Another one is the A-Growth AgTech Accelerator Program, where we partner with Kubota and Risk from MQDC. Another one is NIA Deep Tech Incubation Program at EEC, where we nurture the RE-Tech startups. When I say RE-Tech, it refers to AI, AR, VR, and other immersive technologies. Another one is space economy. So recently, the ministry has announced a policy to push space economy as one of the national agenda. So we try to create more budding entrepreneurs in this space too. Another program is AgTech called AgTech AI Hackathon Online, where we try to create more AI-powered AgTech startups in Thailand. Other incentives and supporting schemes include one, Smart Visa, which is a collaboration that we had with BOI. So the body of investment is the one who endorsed this scheme, and NIA plays a role in authorizing the applicants. So Smart Visa is created to attract new talents and investors and startups from foreign countries to Thailand. The Smart Visa holders can enjoy privileges, for example, a maximum of 4 years visa exemption of visa, permission to work without work permits. They can re-entry the country anytime and enjoy fast track service at international airport. Another one that we try to push is to promote the ease of doing business in Thailand by creating this Global Startup Hub Thailand, which is located in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and also EEC. This center provides services, a wide range of services, including information services, landing pad service, networking and business services, business consultancy services. Apart from that, we also promote and showcase the startup ecosystem and development of startups in Thailand through our biggest annual event called Startup Thailand event, where we welcome a lot of guests from both locally and from abroad. We also help startups promote their business and products through social media using influencers under the supporting scheme we call Startup Thailand Marketplace. And lastly, we create this Startup Thailand portal to be as one-stop service portal and media platform for any startups who and other enthusiasts who want to explore more about startup ecosystem in Thailand. So I think that's a rough overview about what NIA is doing in supporting development of startup ecosystem in Thailand.
Thank you very much. You are doing really a great job, Mr. Jirakumsok, fostering innovative startups. So it's fantastic, and welcome to our panel today. And our next guest panelist, it is Professor Kasemsak Utaichana. So Professor Utaichana, he is the Deputy Director at Chiang Mai University Science and Technology Park, or STEP. He will explain STEP's role in supporting startups in business strategies and lab work. So welcome, Professor Utaichana. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Kasemsak, and then well, we work under the name of the STEP, in short. So you will see the slide that the team will put up, and then we'll have a short story that we would like to let all you guys know. So do we have all the slides, or should I pull up the slide myself?
We can see the slides in the
oh, okay.
In the main
I see.
session. Yes.
Oh yeah, all right. I didn't see that. So in the slide, basically that's our facility. It's in the it's in Chiang Mai, and then it's in the Mae Hia area, if you happen to know. And you see that the main facility, we have roughly 50 company resides in the facility. And then besides the space that we have, the Science and Technology Park here at Chiang Mai University, we also have the what we call the food pilot plant. Basically, the pilot plant is for the usually for the small or medium business who want to develop a new product in terms of food products, and then before they would invest in all this equipment, with all this high CapEx expensive equipment, they can come in and try to make the product at our facility, and then see the market feedback. If they get a good feedback, then they can go ahead, and then we help them connect with other financial subsidy program from the government as well. And then besides that, we also have the startup program that's of course pertinent to this talk, in the sense that we have many of the program working with the students all the way to the graduate, and then alumni as well. We can go into more details upon that. And then next slide, please. In the next slide, basically this is what we have done during the pandemics in the past year. So we work with our local startup in create a new innovation, and we will get into that in more details. And then on the right hand side, you see a lot of processed food from the local produce that they couldn't export to the outside of Thailand because of the no flight or for some other reason. So we help them create a new product to get into the market. And the next slide, please. That's some of the program that we work with all these students, alumni in terms of the startup. So we are sort of a playground, and then basically we create a runway that the startup can get attraction and get off the ground. Well, we cannot promise that they won't crash landing, but they will get some traction and go somewhere for a while. But like after a few years, we can't say you're gonna go on, to the space. No, well, but we hope for the best. Next slide, please. That's some of the business that were doing really well during the pandemic. This one is called All Care. Basically, they have this doctor health check, and then they work with all these people who need a medical test, record, checkup, vaccine, or anything though. So they can do it at the home of the patient. So and they have increased their traction for about 300% during the pandemic. It sort of fits their business model. And then the next one, this with the last example. In the next slide, it's a machine. It's called a UVC based machine. So it's I would say, interestingly, it's the only internet, let's say IoT based mobile for the virus killing machine that's been officially certified by Thai government. So it's sort of the only official mobile machine that can kill the virus. We work with the government really hard to get this done. So that's our startup. And then I guess that's it. And then I have a short story from the startup that has been with us for about 5 years, and then she was really successful in her business. So if the team can pull up the video, it's gonna be in Thai, but we have the English subtitle in the middle of the video. So if the team is ready, can you please show the video to the audience, and we'll hear this story. I kind of like her story. She was with that about 6 years ago. And yeah. Please enjoy.
จ๋า ภัทราพร กัญญมี บริษัท The Little Onion Factory จำกัด จากนักวิทยาศาสตร์สู่นักธุรกิจ ตอนที่เรียนต่อที่อังกฤษมีโอกาสได้ทำวิจัยมากมาย มีความสนใจในสมุนไพรไทย อยากให้คนได้ใช้ประโยชน์และเข้าถึงสมุนไพรไทยได้อย่างแท้จริง สมุนไพรไทยเป็น raw material ที่มีคุณค่ามากในโลก ถ้าเราพัฒนาให้ถูกทางจะสามารถสร้างประโยชน์และช่วยพัฒนาคุณภาพชีวิตให้กับเกษตรกรในชุมชนได้มาก ในวันแรกที่เราเข้ามาเจอกับสเต็ปเรายังไม่รู้เลยว่าธุรกิจต้องทำแบบไหนนะคะด้วยความเป็นนักวิจัยเรารู้แค่อย่างเดียวว่าเราจะทำยังไงให้ของมันดีที่สุดแต่ไม่รู้เลยว่าต้องขายยังไงเรามีแพชชั่นเดียวกับสเต็ปเราต้องการจะทำของที่มีประโยชน์ให้ชุมชนได้ใช้แล้วก็ต้องการนำความรู้เนี่ยส่งต่อให้กับคนอื่นนะคะได้จับต้องได้ง่ายขึ้นในทุกขั้นตอนการเติบโตของธุรกิจเราอะค่ะจำไม่เคยเดินคนเดียวเลยสักครั้งเดียวเลยค่ะจนกระทั่งมาเป็นบริษัททุกวันนี้ค่ะตอนนี้บริษัทเราก็ได้ขยายส่งออกไปยัง15ประเทศนะคะแล้วก็ได้ส่งออกไลเซนซิ่งไปยังบริษัทยายักษ์ใหญ่แห่งหนึ่งที่ประเทศอเมริกาแล้วก็ยังทำ OEM ให้กับโรงแรม6 ดาวนะคะในประเทศไทยแล้วก็ในโลกด้วยค่ะสิ่งที่มีคุณค่ามากที่สุดในธุรกิจของจ๋าค่ะมากไปกว่าผลกำไรหรือว่ามากไปกว่าการขายของได้ก็คือการที่คนได้เห็นคนใช้ความรู้ของเราได้นำไปใช้ประโยชน์ในชีวิตเขาได้จริงๆสิ่งสำคัญที่สุดในการทำธุรกิจก็คือการต้องเป็นน้ำไม่เต็มแก้วพร้อมที่จะต้องเรียนรู้และปรับตัวเพราะว่าโลกมันเดินหน้าไปทุกวันการที่พร้อมจะเรียนรู้และปรับตัวนี่แหละจะเป็นอาวุธที่สำคัญที่ทำให้เราได้พัฒนาตัวเองแล้วก็ปรับปรุงแก้ไขให้ผลิตภัณฑ์เราดีตลอดเวลาค่ะธุรกิจไม่ใช่เรื่องของโชคชะตาค่ะแต่เป็นเรื่องของการลงมือทำอย่าคิดว่าเราสู้อยู่คนเดียวเพราะทุกเส้นทางเนี่ยมีคนพร้อมจะเดินเคียงข้างเราเสมอสิ่งที่เราได้รับมาโอกาสว่าเป็นความรู้ที่ได้รับมาจากสเต็ปทั้งหมดเราก็อยากจะส่งต่อสิ่งดีๆเหล่านี้ให้กับผู้ประกอบการรุ่นใหม่รวมถึงนักศึกษาที่มีโอกาสได้เข้ามาใช้บริการที่เนี่ย ไปเรื่อยๆจนมาถึงทุกวันนี้ได้ต้องขอบพระคุณทางสเต็ปแล้วก็มหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่เป็นอย่างสูงเติบโตขึ้นมาได้ทุกวันนี้เพราะสเต็ปจริงๆแค่มาที่สเต็ปที่นี่จะทำให้งานวิจัยของคุณมีชีวิต
So yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Professor Manuel, back to
Thank
you.
you very much, Professor Tachana, and welcome China My University to our important panel. Thank you. Well, our third and panelist here is Mr. Smith Tawilernity. So Smith, welcome here. Smith is the managing director at Niti Foods Company Limited. He will discuss examples of Niti Foods products and collaborations with governmental institutions in developing products. So welcome, Smith. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and very nice video from Steps. I would like to be part of the success story sometimes. Niti Food is a business in Chiang Mai where we are a family business. Start from small and now become like kind of medium sized, and we also participating in the government's programs like from NIA and from STEPS. So maybe I can share some little story, short story before going to it by showing the slide presentation to see the picture better. This is Niti Food Company. We are a factory producing the spice, seasoning, and agricultural product in Chiang Mai, Thailand, starting 1998, and I'm the second generation. So we launched the new business about 2020 to have the new factory to do seasoning, and then want to invest in like more value-added products from Thailand. Basically, we want to move up the value chain instead of like being a commodity, producing something as most affordable as possible to something that could be scaled, that can use like more scientifics and more technology inside it. So we feel that seasoning will have a lot of more new innovation on ingredient and technology inside it. So we start curating our R&D team that we participate in. The thing is, we recruited the graduate from Chiang Mai University in the Department of Agro-Industry, like food science program. And then we have them work with us. And then we have also the professor from the university to help train and retrain our staff based on the knowledge that we need to have. And then further, we see that the new trends coming like in the terms of alternative proteins. And at the time, about 2019, NIA had launched a program called Space F, and we saw that. I think Kun Jirapon already mentioned. And we were one of the first batch in Thailand to participate in this Space F, and we thank the program that from there we just had the idea, really the idea. We have the product, the design, but then through the program, with the coaching, with the real venture capitals, with the real market testing and all the equipments and tools that the program allow us to use, and then the cohort that also an inspiring companies. So we grow up from the idea on the alternative protein. And what is alternative protein? What we do is called plant-based meat, which is the meat that doesn't need animal but can come wholly from plants. So we take plant protein, plant oil, plant binder, and using R&D to mix it, and then adding seasoning and spice it, and then we go to use in blast freezing to make it keep long. And then the product can be used as cooking ingredient, like as a burger, like beef, could be meatball, could be sandwiches, or the minced meat can be pizza toppings, stir fried, like the Thai food here, or the katsu, which is a Japanese one. We integrating the knowledge on the plant protein and then the culinary that Niti Food already have to create something that more exciting. And we also expanding our base from not just only sell in Thailand, but also export in the region. And the plant-based meat is trending right now in the Southeast Asia, where people are looking for more like sustainable food choices or more healthier food choices. That I think we ride this on this wave here we participate in marketing, like we went to Tyfex and Nuka Asia to showcasing our product and finding the customers. Also, we export to Hong Kong, and then our distributor show our product in Hong Kong market. And this is basically we integrating our company with the assistance from the government and university, and this is the basis for us going forward in the innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Smith, and welcome to our three panelists. So we are going to start a space of discussion with all of you. It's amazing to have here a government, the educational perspective, and the companies and the enterprise here together. So it's a fantastic triangle to be here. So my first question to each of you is starting, please, with Smith, our last speaker. It's what is your definition of innovative startups, and what are their main characteristics for each of you? Please, Smith, could you start, please? Thank you.
Sure. I think innovative startups is, I think the two characteristics that need to have is they utilizing new idea that trying to solve something that's so inefficient in the past, or some of the global problem, or something that is in the high demand, but we could not figure out based on the solution at hand. This is the innovation that is the part of the business. And then startup is the sense where think about utilizing technology, network, and scale to rapidly utilizing the new tool sets before we need to use like the land deeds to go to the bank and collateralize, and then to get the loan and start the business. But maybe some new financing idea or the investment from the venture capital or corporates, or some new idea that to amalgamize, to create the new things, to launch the idea to solve problem for the society, for the business, and for the product, and make sure that will become successful. And that innately will be the very, very high risk business.
Oh, yes, exactly. Risk businesses. That's right, Smith. Excellent. Professor Kasemczak, please.
I would say it's a group of people who have this willingness to undertake this.
Hang on, I'm just sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little.
It's okay. So just
okay.
Go ahead, please.
Right. Okay. Oh, so I would say it's a group of people who have this willingness to go through a journey, usually a hard one, to create this new product or service that can make the world better. And usually it's through, and they can get the benefit eventually through the economy of the scale of the product or service that they create. And then somewhere along the way, usually, not always, but usually they have this creative destruction. So they have destroyed old, outdated, business or product or service along the way as well. So, and it's going to be this way, for a long time. So, yeah.
That's perfect. Thank you very much for your answer. And Dr. Chitrapong, please. What is your definition of innovative startups?
Okay, so as the innovation National Innovation Agency, we have our own definition of innovation. So there are a lot of definitions of innovation. They are all correct, but this is the one that we use. So we have three keywords for innovation. One is creativity, two is value, and three is reality.
Excellent. So 3 points, very important points. Fantastic.
So
please, go ahead.
Innovation is something that can you, hello? Okay, we use our creativity to create some kind of value in real life, in reality. And the formats can be in the form of product, process, service, business model, paradigm, or even the positioning of the product or process, product or service. So an innovative startup is the ones who realize those innovation in reality.
Okay. Thank you for your point of view here about the innovative startups. And I have one questions for Professor Utachana. Professor, as STEP has been working closely with Chiang Mai University Business Schools and many other faculties, can you please tell us about how the collaboration with business schools is initiated and progressed, and what do you see as benefits that assist startups to be innovative, please?
Well, okay, maybe it's a two-part question. So what the first part is, because I think we had the great opportunity, and then we still have this chance to work with I'm a good friend of the dean of the business school of the Chiang Mai University. So I mean, he's one of the first director of our organization. So we've been had this pleasure to work with the student in the faculty of the business school at the CMU for many years, and then we have got a lot of benefits. And then like for example, some of the students join our program to create a new startups as well. Some of them have worked with the small and medium business that were now working on innovations. So they have this chance to collaborate, between the school and then with the business. And then from the experience that we learn, I think they really, it's important to him for them to have the mindset to continue and learn new technology or learn in the new multidisciplinary field, because now usually the business are not really in one dimension. You're going to need like pharmacy with the science and then sometimes food and all that. So to have this open mindset to learn all the time, it's a great help. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, the time is very short today, so I'm going to jump with Mr. Tawilernity, asking one important question. Mr. Smith, switching to a business perspective, okay? What is your view on this question? Engaging with governmental institutions for an educational purpose, especially during and after the pandemic?
Sure. I think this is the very relevant question for this period. I think during this time we could call either like economic crunch or the new normal, where the business landscape just shifted and something new opportunity just pops up, right? And then I think it's about like realizing the gaps when it's open and mobilizing the effort and the idea to capture the moments. And I think every government, like even Thai or any government, will have a supporting program like this to encourage the creative business to grow. I think this is I think Thailand also doing this, like the grant program, the free education program, the training program. They invested so much on like the content, the video, or the seminar that the business, if you have a connection on, not just apply, just through the contact, you can know that there's so many programs that you can participate and take advantage. And then and less the business warrior to be the one that be a driving force of creating the economic values. But the government and the university is the one to support. And I can guarantee that Thailand has plenty of support like this lying around. And it's a matter of seeing it and seize the moment.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. I have a topic interesting for Mr. Chitrapon, please. Has NIIA been working with business schools in helping startups to become innovative and successful? Could you tell us about it, please?
So normally we work with different kinds of faculties. We don't put any stress or focus with business school. But if you but if it comes to business school, we do had one collaboration project with Surpassing, business school from Chulalongkorn University under a Sprint Deep Tech Acceleration Program. So in that program, we were part of it, and from that program, we try to help provide funding to the startups so that they can develop their business and products further, and to be able to push their product into the market successfully. Apart from that, we also provide network of the corporates and also investors and other relevant agencies, so that they can access available supports as needed.
Excellent. And the following this prior question, how do you think you can help startups to be innovative in the long run? I mean, after this pandemic situation, Jitrapong, please.
So from the pandemic, we can see that disruption can happen very fast and very have very large impact, right? So now every enterprises from small, medium, and large comes to awareness that they need to keep innovating their business. Otherwise, they might die.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So regarding that, we help those SMEs and also large corporates to become more innovative through different kinds of schemes. One, we provide a grant whenever they come up with an innovative project. We provide a matching fund for them. So it means that they contribute one part and we contribute another part to realize that innovative project, because every innovative project has their own risk. So we help them reduce that risk. So that is the project-based one. Another part is that we provide what we call innovative organization assessment program, where we provide a comprehensive tool that an enterprise, usually the M and L size, used to evaluate themselves to see from different angles what kind of angles they are strong already, what kind of angles they are still weak, and then how to fill in that gap. So we also provide that kind of service.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your answer. Well, I have some questions here. For the first question to Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, as export-oriented startups, has the COVID-19 affected your supply chain and getting your goods to your export markets? How can you work on that issue? What adjustments did you make about that, please?
This is the fact, and we have to live it every day. We want to export, and everything seems to be more expensive and longer and more uncertain. I think it's about patience and having enough cash flow. Before we have the trade show that people can come and see and taste the food product, you need to taste the product, but now you can't. Then without traveling, and you have to send sample using the airline, you have to be creative. And secondly, for the exporting with container and the freight cost, when it doesn't make sense, just don't do it, right? Because you don't want to spend the scarce resource like cash and the cash flow to do something that could add up. So I think we plan on doing something at maybe early next year, because this is like the what I call the peak season on the shipping. Everybody want to beat it for the Christmas, and the freight line is really high, and then they're very congested. and try to find a way to be creative. And then one other thing is local market also is important. I think so. We have to balance this type of thing. I think you cannot rely on one market or the other, but we have to try to prosper and seize the opportunity at every moment, because you could face another problem that you may not expect again.
I see. That's right. Well, I have a question for Step, so for Professor China. What are your suggestions to business schools in revising curriculums or teaching methods to fit with current COVID situation?
Oh, well, I think they should learn a lot of failures in business, through the pandemics or not, sometimes through the other factors that we couldn't perceive or foresee. So that's very important, and it's better to learn the failures of the other than than to face it yourself. But I think that's important. And then moving forward, back again to the same point. I believe that if they can work with the government somehow in terms of the, let's say, a failure program, usually the government would prefer to have a program, and then you say, well, this is the success of the program, right? We have like 8 new startup or 20 or 30 new startup, right? I would love to see a program that say, well, we're gonna fail, right? 40 startups, and then here's why we fail. And then, if you keep doing that, then you have this bunch of knowledge, how not to run a good business. And then this will stick in the back of the mind of the students in the business school. And then they would take that all the way to, through their work-life experience.
Okay, excellent. And from the enterprise perspective, Mr. Smith, what do you think about just suggestions on the curriculums into the business schools?
I think students should have first-hand experience, and I think internship is something could be very valuable. But then it's about the expectation on the internship between the company and the students. Some students expect like the full-fledged program that you can do, train and get, but business always need or always short of hand. And I think it's also about like the age gaps, when people from one age generation and then the entrepreneur at another age generation could interact and work together to learn each other. I think it's always be a good exchange on like to have the internships or to have someone. And we did have intern for Let's Plant Meat for last year. I think we had some exciting thing happen.
Ah, well, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Smith and Samsak, for your incredible insights about how to meet the requirements from business schools to the society. Fantastic. And I have another question for Jitrapon, please. It's about the people asking, how would you suggest startups to start and stay innovative, especially in the current pandemic situation? What is your opinion about that?
This is a hard question. So I would say that keep your eyes on, always get connected to the business, to the ecosystem. Always ask for feedbacks from your customers, because the customer provides the most valuable insights and feedbacks. If anything changed in the market, the customer can tell you right away. So I think that keep your eyes on and be half full glass of water, open to learn new things.
I see. Yeah. Well, thank you very much to our panelists to give your insights about the fostering innovative startups. I will love to give 1 minute for closing remarks to each of you, please. Mr. Smith, 1 minute, please. Closing remarks. Thank you.
I think to tie on the topic of this, like the pandemic, like I said, the thing will not be the same way again. So I think the crack just open and new opportunity comes up, and the old opportunity may disappear. And it's about finding ways to tackle that. I think this always the case where the new successful business, who has some insight and experiment early, and to pool the resources as little as they have, and try to bring in support from the government, from the university. And the last thing is to keep afloat. The cash is also really important these days. I think business, like all the business women already know, cash is the oxygen of the business, and keep afloat and try to make the best out of the opportunity that we have today. Thank you.
Excellent. Cash is the king. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Mr. Jitrapon, please, your final remarks. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that the government, corporates, and the ecosystem are now very welcome and very eager to collaborate with small enterprises and also startups. So please make yourself visible, reach out for any help, if anything, ask, and utilize, maximize the available services from the ecosystem and the government. We are, especially NIA, we are very welcome for any requests, anything. Please feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you, NIA Fan and Mr. Jirapont, for being here today. And last but not least, Professor Chaichana, please.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. Well, if I have to describe, what to do in one word, I would say focus on the goal that you want to achieve, and then based on what Smith said, right? You can achieve your goal if you don't, if you don't die along the way. So, be sure that you survive to see tomorrow, right? That's also important. But then, if you want to do startup, let's just say, I would say, start early. And I believe in the CEO of the company. So usually what we do is we help the CEO become a better CEO, along the way. And then, to achieve all that, they have to be really resilient. And then usually the startup will take low risk. It's usually low risk. If you get something for free, you get for free. If NAA will give something for you for free, you would take it from the NAA. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, the time has passed. And we are almost finished this important panel. Thank you very much to all of you three, dear panelists. You really gave a fantastic perspective from the government educational side and the enterprise perspective around the startups. Now, thank you very much for being here, and for the audience, stay for the next of the event. Thank you very much.
So, wow, what a wonderful panel sessions. A big thank you to you, the panelists, and the questions from the audience. So let us proceed with the next sessions, which is a small group brainstorming. So in these sessions, we would like to invite all of you to join our breakout rooms, which are already assigned randomly. So please click on the button that says brainstorming below the screen as we are showing to you now. And once you enter the breakout rooms, you may discuss the topic after the pandemic, what to keep and what to quit. So everyone is welcome to share your thoughts. We have already designated people for each room who will do timekeeping and take notes for you. We will spend only 20 minutes in the breakout rooms, so please don't be shy and speak up. There's no right or wrong answers here. And after 20 minutes, we come back to the main room and share the ideas that were discussed in the small groups. So without further ado, please go ahead and enjoy your breakout room now. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Now we get to hear what ideas were shared in the small groups. I would like to invite Professor Ravi Rungrungsi, Assistant Dean of Chiang Mai University Business School, to chair these sessions. Thank you, Professor Ravi. The mic is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the event so far, especially the small group discussions where you get to see your fellow academics, say hello, and exchange your thoughts. Now it's time to share your ideas and results of your discussions. We'll invite a representative of each group to the stage and put the group answers on the screens. The purpose here is to learn about other business schools' opinion on the activities that they apply since the pandemic and that they wish to keep implementing, and also those that they want to quit and switch back to the traditional manner. Let us have a look at the answers, starting from group number 1 first. So now please, can I please invite Professor Thomas Koss from University of Richmond, hello, to present
Hello.
the answers from the group discussion. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. It's delightful to be here. Forgive me if I yawn. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning where I am. We had 5 folks in our small group, and by and large, we experienced many of the same things and have the similar reactions. Some of the things that the different schools have done, our international activities were cut in interesting ways, but we seem to make up for it in other ways. Instead of being able to exchange students or taking trips with students, we ended up doing a lot of things virtually, everything from internships to consulting or real world type projects. The other thing that we did is, and that we will be keeping, is being able to use technology and virtual meetings. We're able to bring people into the classroom, for example, business executives that perhaps we couldn't get normally. And this means people from not just our city or country, but from all over the world. Some schools, I learned a new term, high flex, which is what the French refer to as what we call a hybrid system, where it's a combination of virtual as well as in-person teaching. They seem to be keeping that. In some instances, it's worked fairly well. Other things that we're keeping that we started during the pandemic was virtual internships, for example, and teaching to students in different parts of the world. My school is back to straight full-time on-campus teaching, but some of the schools are keeping a mix or a blend, if you will, or again, what we would call a hybrid model. One of our colleagues from Julie from the Open University really didn't experience too much change. She and her colleagues were used to doing everything virtually or online. In fact, what it helped for them was that they were able to get more resources to support their hybrid and, well, not really hybrid, but virtual learning activities. I would ask the other folks who are in my group, please join in, and I'm sure there are some things I left out, some things I didn't properly describe. Betty, can you add to my list?
Hi, everyone. I was in Tom's group, and I think that one of the things that I would like to perhaps add is one of the things that we perhaps not so much quit, but adjusted is our way of assessment. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is not so much give a formal test like we would normally do, whether it's our midterm or final exam, but we adjusted in terms of perhaps a take-home exam where they would have 24 hours and it would be open book, or in lieu, it would be a special project or a group assignment, a problem that they needed to solve in an effort to apply some of the theoretical frameworks that we had presented in class. So it was much more robust and group-oriented and team-oriented versus an individual assessment that we would normally do in the classroom, paper and pen, but actually more group-oriented and then off-site. So the other thing I think that we did, what Tom had referred to in terms of the hybrid system, was that for our school at KAIST in Seoul, Korea, that we focused primarily on the students that were in class. So we stopped perhaps doing this dual role of wearing multiple hats and meeting the needs of both people online and also in the classroom, but the people in the online, they served only as observers. So they couldn't really ask questions or engage in the discussion. Most of the discussion was just primarily focused in terms of the in-classroom experience, and they just served as observers. That way we could focus on higher quality. Thank you. That's all to add. Thanks.
Yeah, one of the things that we found was that the professors, especially if it's a class where, like a case class where there's a lot of interaction or should be a lot of interaction, both the profs and the students found that difficult to deal with in a virtual or situation. And professors, it's hard to get a read on how students are reacting from their faces on a screen. So, and of course they could always turn off their camera, which is kind of interesting. Is our friend Yves there? Can you add anything, Yves? Well, I guess he had to go.
Yes, maybe we need for hybrid, high flex systems, we need to deactivate. Okay. We need more material, for example, multi-screen systems, to see our distant students and not to ignore them, as Betty said. So we realized that, and we try to invest more to facilitate this interaction with our distant students when we have this hybrid iFlex system.
One of the challenges that we've had was doing MBA special projects. I teach a class where we take the MBA students abroad and they do consulting projects for companies in the host country. Of course, we couldn't travel. That presented some interesting problems. We were able to overcome it to some extent by doing things virtually, but they really didn't get the cultural component to the extent that they would if they were, on the ground live in a host country.
So,
and I think that about sums it up for my group.
Okay, so I'm the champion from the other group. This is Xu Jian from Tsinghua University School of Economics and Management. So I totally agree with, not I, so I should say we have our group and your group have many common ideas, but anyway, I will try to summarize the main points discussed in our group. What to keep, so also thanks the assistant for taking the notes for us. So where is the note? Can anybody show the notes? Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. So I will try to follow these notes. First of all, after the pandemic, what activities to keep? I think all of our group members agree that the hybrid or online teaching or meeting, we should go with this because these are very convenient for us and also makes to do research very productive. For example, so MBA students can take the class on Zoom, on internet, and save lots of time for traveling. So when member school MBA application number is increased. So this is the good thing. And also for our school, I think our executive students, they love this hybrid teaching very much because they don't need to travel that lot. And sometimes if they have a time conflict, they will kind of have the lecture replay. This function is also very nice. So this is for the hybrid teaching, and other people also enjoy online meeting. So the online meeting can also save the traveling time cost and also money for people, especially for the Asian Pacific countries, since it's difficult for us to invite speakers from US or European countries because take time for them to travel only to give a talk in your business school, especially in the semester, during the semester. However, by using the online or tele meeting is really convenient for us to invite these people, and it's easier for us or for the business schools to organize very high quality international conferences. And also these conferences can benefit more people because offline conferences, to control the quality of the conference, sometimes we have to limit the number of audience. However, now for the online conference, more and more people can get assessment. So for sure, we will keep this online meeting. And we also, so our member also talk about to keep online exam. So this is always also very very convenient than the offline exam. And I covered hybrid teaching and digital training. So we benefit a lot from digital training, and we also benefit from the technology of innovation. So when using the online teaching or hybrid teaching, we have lots of kind of cute options that we cannot use before. As for example, for my class, students can kind of deliver anonymous live comment on the internet. So they cannot do that before. So some very shy students now can be very active in the classroom. And we also mentioned that, yeah, because now it's easier to invite more exchange professors from outside using the online meeting or conferences. So then the people will be more exposed, and school will be more globalized. And also the collaboration among institutions is more important than before, and we should continue. For the quit side, and when talk about the on-site meeting, so now we have the online meeting. So maybe we have so many meetings to attend each day. So maybe sometime just we can quit some on-site meeting. We just use this online meeting instead, and also quit some in-person exam. And one thing I want to mention is that everybody value the face-to-face or the interpersonal communications with each other. So after the pandemic, I think definitely all the faculty, students, and even alumni want to come back to campus to enjoy the real college life or the normal social life between us. So that's basically what we have from our group. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Professor Jian, and also Professor Thomas, Professor Betty, and other professors who contributed to this session. We already have a survey result that we sent over before the meeting, and the result that we get quite similar to what the panel or what the participants have mentioned here. For example, what we want to keep are those online tools for daily work, for meetings, and we want to keep those blended or hybrid type of learning. But for the things that we want to quit are basically online teaching, because we want to go back to on-campus method. And also in terms of participating with industries, we want to keep those engagement on site or on campus instead of online. So thank you so much, professors. Those are very great insights and great information. Now, let's go back to the main session. I'll hand over the stage back to Professor Korplap. Professor Korplap, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you again, Professor Ravi. We now proceed to our keynote sessions. It is my pleasure to introduce and welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Alphonse K. Rovira, the Director for Quality Services and E-Quiz at EFMD Global. His speech titled, The Aftermath of the Pandemic, the Learnings and the Projections, will be very, very valuable for us as business schools from all over the world to prepare business education for the future beyond the pandemic. Professor Rovira, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And I'm very happy to be here and very honored to have been invited to deliver this brief but important keynote speech. So I'll work out my presentation and see whether there are any questions. I believe we are very short of time, but the idea is to give you a little bit of what are the learnings that we've been perceiving through the ongoing accreditation processes that we didn't interrupt despite the pandemic. So we've been hearing different stories from schools, and I try to capture them, synthesize them, so that could be of value for this selected audience. So without further ado, let me go into my presentation, and I hope you can see it now. Is that correct? You can see it, the presentation here? Yes, okay, thank you very much. So the title is The Aftermath of the Pandemic, Learnings and Projections. As you can imagine, the learnings are the easiest part. Projections are simply, to some extent, speculations given what has happened so far. Now, to start very clearly, well, there was a sudden shock 18 to 24 months ago, depending on how you look at it. We suddenly had an external shock in the not only in the academic world, but in the global environment, of course. And there have been a number of reactions, and this is what I plan to share with you at the beginning. So what we've learned are a number of things. The first one is that schools showed an amazing degree of resilience. So schools reacted very fast. And every now and then, academic institutions are said to be slow and not particularly agile. This has not been the case in facing the pandemic. One of the issues that we've seen immediately is that digitalization, all processes have speed up immensely, and they have been embedded in most of the activities of schools. There were obviously differences at the beginning. So there were schools that had been more advanced and had been embedding digitalization processes well before the pandemic. But overall, as the sector, as the industry, there's been an incredible amount of reaction in this regard. And it shows. I mean, activities have not been interrupted and so on. Now, this has been most apparent in the learning formats in which there have been a number of combinations between the face-to-face, virtual, and hybrid. And this is where most, if not all, schools have been positioning themselves. Obviously, there are differences depending on the countries, depending on the institutional measures that have been taken place. And by the way, these measures have not been stable over time. So we've seen how schools that actually move into virtual then went back into hybrid and then go back into virtual, depending on the specific environments. Now, the other thing that we've noticed is that there's been a lot of competence assessment immediately. I remember well the times in which we were comparing Zoom, Teams, and other kinds of technologies, you name that. There's been a very clear assessment of what are the best technologies for the specific purposes. And last but not least, schools have been looking inside into how can we develop a specific competences, in particular looking at faculty and staff in order to deliver a better service, of course, to students, among other things. Okay, so in here we can actually start. Is there something that we missed so far? Is there anything that we can expect in the future, given that we were coming from? Well, there are some indications, not questions, but indications that things seem to have changed a little bit, and depending on how we look at them, we can begin to actually accumulate some knowledge. Okay, so for example, and these are data that are being passed on by colleagues from GMAC, who very kindly share with us this kind of information. Okay, so one of the things that we've noticed is that students in particular, if we look at January 21 and then June 21, students are becoming more comfortable with COVID-19. So they started, as anybody else, they started, well, where is this going to end? You may remember the time in which vaccination was something of a big question mark. This is not the case anymore, but there are other problems, of course. But still, from the student population side, they are less and less concerned. And this ended in June 21. So by now, probably, and I was speaking with colleagues in New York just yesterday, and they were telling me, well, life is normal here, and student population behave as nothing is happening. So yet, we are not returning to square one. So for example, we're beginning to see changes here. So if we look at the percentage of GMAT score reports sent by non-US citizens to US schools, we can see that in the long run, okay, there's a little bit of a movement toward less mobility towards the US. Of course, GMAC is very concerned with the US, but this is something that a question mark that would be interesting for all of us to consider. And I'll go into that detail, go into this with more detail. So there's a little bit of a trend here. Now, if you look at different priorities, and that's the question here, maybe we're beginning to see a slight shift of priorities. I know that this is not easy to read immediately, but I'll try to help you with this, okay? So for example, if we look into China, China is telling where are the, if China as a test taking place, where are these data are going to be set, which is an indication of which are the priorities for this population. Not that they are going to be there, but the priorities. So you can see here between year 2012 and this year, and in particular in comparison with the previous year, there's a clear shift. I mean, Chinese population taking GMAC is less interested in going to the US. The US is the blue portion of this column. Okay, but these similar things are happening in Europe, for example. You see the blue light, the light blue is going down. So there's a little bit of a decrease in the intentionality of going to. I'm using just the US, but we could see similar examples in all the regions. So there's a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a movement in the intentions here. In India as well, United States, maybe less, but we'll see more of that. So the conclusion here is that we look at just these two pieces, Chinese students are targeting more schools in Europe and East Asia. And European students seem to be staying more in Europe than before. So this might be one of the going forwards of this pandemic, okay? Now, is that a different normality in the delivery? Now we've looked into regional changes, but in delivery. So in this graphic, you can see that there are dark blues and light blues, or dark purple or whatever. So if we look at the difference between the intention of students, what do they think about completing a degree online due to COVID-19? What is the intention, or at least the opinion or the attitude of students? Well, it's interesting because if you look at the domestic population, those who are going to take a domestic MBA, they say it's okay to take an online degree. It's fine. 54% would say, yeah, I think it's not a problem, really. So, whereas if you look at population actually intending to take an MBA internationally, you say, no way. So it's the domestic part that it can be transferred to online easier than the international one. So if you're going for an MBA some other place, you may want to say, no, I would like this to be face-to-face. Virtual is not a good substitute. But if I'm at home, maybe I don't care so much. Maybe I can just have a different kind of interaction with people around. So there's an interesting indication here. It may consolidate or not. That's the question. But at least we know that this is happening right now in the mindsets of students. Okay. So in some way, we can summarize it, say, okay, are the degrees equivalent? Okay, normally they say no, they are not equivalent. They disagree. So they are not equivalent in the degree of experience. But, and in particular with a graduate business program, they prefer really to go in person. But there are tweaks here. That's the thing. There are tweaks here that they may be orienting us as in business schools, okay? Now, projections, and this is more on the speculation side. Projections, well, if resilience was there, resilience is going to continue for sure. Now, what we've noticed is that schools are adjusting strategies all over these 18 months, changing their positioning. And they're doing that with amazing speed and considerable flexibility. So schools are discovering to a certain extent a degree of flexibility that may have not be as present as before. Okay, so the second thing is digitalization. The investment is continuing, is growing, it's here to stay. So the question is how this digitalization is going to change their strategies and vice versa. Learning formats, again, still under exploration. Everybody is exploring what suits best, what kind of programs can be turned into virtual easier than others, what pieces of the programs, maybe we are turning into a different conception of the programs, we'll see. And to me, that's very important, competence development. There's a little bit of rebalancing of the teaching. I mean, lately we've looked at business schools focusing a lot on research, which is going to continue. But the value of teaching, the value of really providing a virtual or non-virtual learning experience is becoming crucial and core. And this is gaining importance for business schools. Now, the road ahead. And this is, again, if those were projections, these are questions, really. First question is on the learning experience. Is the virtual experience a plausible alternative or a complement? And to what degree is going to be a complement? To what degree is going to be something that fits, suits, or becomes a substitute? That's going to be a question that is going to be present for us in the next, I guess, years probably. Now, the second one, which is maybe more intriguing, is this: if virtual and flexibility are good descriptions of what schools are doing right now, are we about to see individual learning paths within business schools? is this a possibility that in the parties has been contemplated and say, well, we discussed issues around stackability and things like that, but maybe the term would be individual learning paths rather than stackability. And this may be a different way of looking at it. Secondly, and that's on a different level, previous one was about learning experience. Now we're talking about institutional impact. If this is the case, we may be envisioning the possibility of different types of partnerships among schools, maybe more integrated. And as an example, in the past, the Dean of International Relations was to discuss things very autonomously or quite autonomously. Now maybe this is the kind of discussion is going to take place with the Dean or Vice Dean of Learning and Teaching, because there might be possibilities here to be explored between partners and schools, provided that there's a virtual experience in the horizon. Well, then this can actually be a very rich experience if 2 or 3 schools get together and begin to think about the possibilities that of these virtual scenarios. Or mobility. I mean, obviously, this is a relevant question. Are we facing a decrease in mobility in the global education scenario? I mean, we learned something that GMAC data seem to be pointing out. There might be a different kind of regionalization here movement. So maybe East Asia students would like to remain in East Asia, but in different places. Maybe the same happening in Europe, whereas the US may be remaining. So there are questions here that are very relevant. And of course, I'm thinking about Australia and Oceania, whether this could be also a possibility and how. So I understand that each region is going to be richer inside, looking inside, but at the same time, with a good possibilities about complementing that virtually. Now, on sustainability, and this is the last piece, of course, we've learned that hard way. But these days in Glasgow, there have been a lot of discussions about the sustainability, climate change, etc., etc. Well, we all know by now that this is a hard issue, hot topic that is taking discussion, that is taking place on all different layers. Now, is it an opportunity for business schools actually to move it forward and actually to ride the wave to some extent, and maybe clearly taking a stand and putting these kind of issues into the curriculum? That's one thing. Secondly, are business schools to become exemplars of academic institutions? If they showed enough resilience and flexibility and strategic intent, why not business schools to ask from business school, look, you can be an exemplar for the academic world? And thirdly, can they or should they play a more active role in public matters? I mean, at this point, there are NGOs, there are discussions on the political level, but maybe actually business schools have a role to play here as well, become activists in some way, or at least balancing the discussion and putting the discussion in place. So I don't know, I'm not very aware of whether I did that in 15 minutes, but that was a little bit the discussion I wanted to show you. That was coming back, we learned that schools were better than we expected, probably reacted very nicely and speeding up and integrating things that, if I remember correctly, the discussions 10 years ago, when people would look at, would think about digitalization, people say, oh, this is going to take us time, etc., etc. Well, it didn't take as much time as we expected. We did it pretty well. This is not finished, by the way, but we did it well. Now, there are new trends, new possibilities, and questions actually to be sorted out. And this is where we stand now. And thank you very much. That was it. Yeah. This is what I wanted to share. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Professor Rovira. What a great speech to wrap up the main discussion of our event. So this brings us to the final sessions, which is the general meeting and closing remarks. I would like to invite Professor Robin Gold the AAPBS President, Professor Betty Chang, the AAPBS Executive Director, and Dean Kongpu Nimanan to these sessions. So first, I would like to invite Professor Robin Gold, the AAPBS President, to begin for us. Thank you.
You're on mute, Robin.
Thank you very much for the reminder to unmute. Thank you very, very much for the introduction. I understand you had my slides, so if you can put those up, I'd be very grateful. And I will just start to talk in any case. Look, thank you very, very much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful meeting. And first of all, I would just like to say some thank yous. I'd like to express profound appreciation to our partners in AACSB and EFMD in sponsoring this conference. We're grateful to Jeff Perry for having addressed us yesterday, and grateful also to Professor Sakwe just now for having addressed us on behalf of EFMD Global. Grateful also to Manuel Ortiz de Zevallos. I think it must be now 4 a.m. there in your part of the world. So we're very, very grateful, and you look very much awake, so very well done. It's getting close to my bedtime here, and that to me always tells us just how vast our coverage as a collaboration is across the globe, the different time zones that we work in. Knowing, of course, that Alphonse has addressed us first thing in the morning in his part of the world. So thank you very, very much to the partners. I'd like to say a very warm thank you also, and a heartfelt thank you to the AAPBS Secretariat, to Kayla and Susan and to Betty for all of their assistance in putting this event on, and for everything they do behind the scenes with AAPBS. There are a lot of logistics, and an association doesn't function without the logistical support of the Secretariat. I'd like to say a very special thanks to Dean Nimanand and his team at Chiang Mai, because once again, there's a lot of work goes into putting together an event such as this. I think you've done a superb job, actually, and once again demonstrated just how well an online event can be organised. Very, very professional. I think the compares, those who have overviewed each day and led us into the sessions, have been extremely professional and really, really shown us the value and the professionalism that has come from your business school. So well done, and thank you on behalf of AAPBS. So now just to go on and say a few words, you may or may not have my slides running, but I'll just run through what I was going to say anyway. You'll be very, very aware, AAPBS members, of our mission. And we have a long-standing AAPBS mission, which is to provide leadership and representation in order to advance the quality of business and management education in our region, the Asia Pacific, through collaborating and research and teaching and partnership to improve the standards and quality of our business schools. Now, this is a very, very long-standing mission that dates back through a series of presidents who've generally held a one-year term. Of the last 4 years, we've had 2-year presidential terms, and the executive and the council of AAPBS have come to an agreement that we need to, and we've been talking about this, as everyone knows now, for a good 6 months, that we need to just look at our mission. We also need to look at our vision and our purpose. And so we will commence very, very shortly. We have just agreed at the executive and council meeting yesterday that we will very, very shortly commence a brief process where we will interview each of the council members and just ask them for their feedback on what it is that we stand for as an organisation, and what our members, those deans who sit on council, would like from us as an organisation in a rapidly changing and very different world from the one that AAPBS was born in just over 15 years ago. We've grown as an association, our region has evolved, and we need also to ensure that we reflect upon and offer the services and other activities that our members would like from us as an association. So look out for the Secretariat being in touch with you, those members of council, quite soon as we set up a process to gather feedback on what it is we stand for, our purpose, mission, vision, and so forth. And we will be looking before the next council meeting, the May conference, to produce a solid draft version, either reinforcing our existing mission, value proposition, and so forth, or with something that's an adaptation and articulates a vision of the future for the association. We currently, just updating on our membership, we currently have 141 members, and that is 120 full members, 17 associate members, 3 affiliate members, and 1 corporate member. We have welcomed new members since last year's annual meeting, including the University Sultan Zainal Abidin from Indonesia, the Zhuangzi University of Finance and Economics from China, and Wharton Research Data Services associated with the Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania. So very, very warm welcome to our new members. We are, of course, always open to applications from potential members for AAPBS, so please don't hesitate to nominate business school colleagues that you feel would be a good fit with AAPBS. We have been in communication in recent months with some North American business schools, for example, who have significant interests in our region, and these may be long-standing interests. Some of them have campuses in China and other parts of the Asia-Pacific region, India and other parts of Asia, for example, and use case material from the region, but are not members of our association. So we've been in discussion with some North American business schools, for example, who it makes perfect sense for them to join our association. But there are European business schools and a huge number also from around our region. So please, if you know of business schools who would have an interest or who you feel that we should be in contact with, don't hesitate to let us know at the Secretariat. AAPBS, of course, offers a number of services to members. So the 2 conferences, the academic conference and the annual conference each year. And we hope next year to be able to return to having at least hopefully 1 in-person conference. The situation we know globally evolves almost on a day-to-day basis at the moment. And who knows where we will be in May next year. And hopefully we can meet on a campus for next year's academic conference. We have historically been running an Aspiring Deans program. I'll hand it over to Professor Chung very shortly to describe a new Dean's Corner that we will shortly be launching. We've had a long-standing case club, case centre, sorry. See, it's very late at night in New Zealand. I don't know how you're feeling in Latin America, but I'm not far off bed. We've had a long-standing case centre organised out of Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and there are new initiatives coming out of there. Our newsletter comes out bi-monthly, so please don't hesitate to put information into our newsletter. It goes out to a wide range of constituents, and there are various other activities that we're always looking to add value to our members via. Just a quick update on the governance of AAPBS. You'll know that the council the executive of AAPBS has 6 members, including Betty Chung, the executive director, myself, and 4 other members. And then we have a council of 22 members. And we are also starting to rethink the composition of the council and the constitution. So within the next period of time, we will notify all members of some possible changes to the composition of council. But so that is yet to come. Lastly, please make contact with us. We are still finalising arrangements for next year's conferences. Now, we have 2 schools thus far who are interested in hosting either of the 2 conferences, but we haven't quite worked out which one is going to host which. We are almost there with it, but if you are at all interested in hosting one of the AAPBS conferences next year, or the year after, or the year beyond, please don't hesitate to make contact. So without further ado, let me thank you all very, very much again for your attendance. We value your time with us. We value you as members of AAPBS. We are all together better as a result of our work through AAPBS. Our region is an important one, and it's important that our business schools represent our voice within the global sphere. So thank you very, very much again, and I would like to now hand over to Betty Chong.
Thank you. Thank you, President Robin. So I too would like to echo the sentiments, a very, very sincere thank you for our host as well as our affiliates. We have a very, very strong collaboration, not only with EFMD, also with ACSB, and also with Claudia. And we continue to look forward to strengthening those kinds of relationships. Professor Robin had shared earlier that we are 22 leadership strong, which make up our council. We have over 140 members. We seek to perhaps change a little bit or expand our executive council members, and we will perhaps open up a nomination process for those membership schools that are very interested in taking part of the leadership of AAPBS, and invite you possibly to nominate yourself, or if AAPBS sees that one school is very active, we will perhaps ask you also to join our council. I wanted to just highlight a couple new initiatives that AAPBS has started, and I want to just draw your attention to these as we end our conference, because really our theme is around engagement, involvement, and collaboration. So President Robin had already shared that we will be having our academic conference. Usually we have that in May, and every year we have a spring conference, which focuses not only on dean's issues, but also around professor issues and academic issues. This year, we will either perhaps host that in Japan, possibly. There has been conversation, perhaps other people have talked about Queensland. Again, we open up your recommendation if you'd like to host as well, and hopefully it can be live. But for this academic conference, if you can turn to the next slide, please, I want to talk a little bit about a new initiative, which is the CASE competition. Essentially what this CASE competition is that every year we generally have a case writing or case teaching workshop through our CASE Center. This year, we decided to open it up to all of our membership schools, all of our professors, and even PhD students, whereby we would have a case competition and invite all the participants to submit a case focusing on the theme of responding to COVID, in particular, what companies are doing to respond to COVID. We are offering a first, second, and third place prize, which is first place of $3,000 US, second place, which is $2,000 US, third place, $1,000 US, and 3 fourth place winners, which will be a waiver for our academic conference in May. We hope that we will get lots and lots of different kinds of submissions that are relevant to our region with the teaching notes. We combine all of those cases, and we have a journal, which every year we produce a chapter of a journal for our case workshops, as well as for our constituent base. So please look out for that. It'll be launched November 19th, and we hope that you and your colleagues will submit a case. The second thing that I want to bring your attention to is the Dean's Corner. What the Dean's Corner is an opportunity for thought leaders, the council deans, to share his or her personal thoughts as well as thought leadership around certain relevant issues that have been asked or that have been generated through a survey. So our first session, which will be launched in mid-November, President Robin will host that, and it will be governance structures, leadership, and faculty. We will do this bi-weekly, and we're thinking that based on the needs of the group, as well as the survey results, that it will be a very intimate kind of conversation, about 50 people in number, or perhaps if it's more popular, we open that up to whomever would like to join. But it's really an opportunity to talk about very relevant topics within the region. So please look out for that. In closing, what I'd like to say is, again, it is our sincere pleasure to serve this constituent group. We rely very heavily on lots of volunteers, as well as our collaboration with all of our affiliate organizations like EFMD, AACSB, and Claudia, but in particular, our membership schools like Chiang Mai University, who have just modeled such an amazing work in terms of hosting this conference. So we thank you sincerely. Without further ado, let me give the floor back to the host, and thank you sincerely again. Thank you.
Thank you again, Professor Chang and Professor Gold. Now, I would like to invite Dean Kongpoo Nimanan of Chiang Mai University Business School to close this session. Thank you.
Hello again. AAPBS President, Deans, Executive, Panelists, Moderators, and all attendees. In these 2 days, we have learned from great discussions, opinions, and insight from our keynote speakers, panelists, and moderators who are from many parts of the world. And most importantly, we have shared experiences and in constructing educational activities during the pandemic among our fellow AAPBS members. I see these contributions fulfill the purpose of this event and are significant in assisting us to advance business education now and in the future. So I would like to take these opportunities to show my deepest gratitude to the AAPBS executives, ACSB International, and my team from the Division of International Relations and staff of Chiang Mai University Business School, and to all of the attendees here. As a token of our appreciation to contributors, Chiang Mai University Business School donated in the name of all panelists and moderators to the Center of Elephant and Wildlife Research, as Professor Koplap mentioned earlier. Although it is the end of this annual meeting, I hope our network is still connected and proactive throughout these challenging times. We at Chiang Mai University Business School are very honored to host all of you this year, and we hope we can welcome all of you to our campus in the very near future. Best wishes to you all. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you, Dean, for your speech. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of this event. Before you go, please make sure you complete the evaluation survey shown on your screens. This will help our team and AAPBS improve our future meetings. It should only take a couple of minutes. Thank you. Once again, thank you AACSB International and the AAPBS executives, staff, and all attendees for joining us today. We hope you stay safe and thrive throughout and beyond the pandemic.
Thank you very much again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
For
Wonderful.
today.
Congratulations. Excellent event.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
See you again.
Take care,
See you
everyone. Hope to see you in person. Thank you so much, Chiang Mai.
Thank you for all the support. The team was wonderful.